Before we begin, a big thank you to Thomas and Sarah for including us in Season 2, Episode 2 of Hocus Focus. A link to their show is in the description. Welcome to Saturday Morning Seance. Beyond the smokestacks and soot-black industrial thrum of the North Midlands is a place built by digging clay, coal and iron off the broken sweating backs of flesh measured by the ton. Biddulph Grange is a place charged with a feeling somewhere between world and other worlds. During the 1920s, it became a cripple society hospital and later orthopaedic and spinal wards, and this is where I first encountered the place as a 9-year-old child. My brother and I would play in the grounds at visiting time, in the half-light of dusk, largely unaware that our mother was slowly ebbing away inside the building. At the time, the celebrated gardens were somewhat ramshackle and overgrown, and filled both of us with delight and terror as we navigated its labyrinthine pathways and tunnels, encountering spectral children and awe-inducing gods of old. Son of a wealthy coalmaster and industrialist, Oxford-educated James Bateman inherited the Bateman fortune in the late 1850s. He put the fortune to work building and extending the former medieval farm into a sizable mansion with a 15-acre garden. Also a generous philanthropist, creating schools, housing and buildings for the betterment of the poor of the parish. These activities, along with his outwardly evangelical Christian zeal, was more than enough to get interests other than gardening and philanthropy past the cultural motion sensors of the time. The high Victorian era loved nothing more than a façade, and behind the façade at Biddulph Grange grew and blossomed not only roses, but the burgeoning tendrils of an occult society, the roots of which may go down through the fertile soil of history back to the incalculable genius of Dr. John Dee, and perhaps even further to the Templars. 1572, John Dee, along with other notables of the time, witnessed a new star emerge in the heavens, now referred to as the Tycho supernova, or SN 1572. Dee and others saw this as the dawn of a new era of enlightenment and formed a new magical order of engaged hermetic thinkers of the time, supposedly calling it the Order of Mianaya, an anagram of I am one. It was short-lived and came to little, but the name of the order and intent is speculated to have been revived some 300 years later at Biddulph Grange. The Batemans played host to many in high society, especially those with esoteric leanings, rubbing shoulders and entertaining the likes of Arthur Waite, actress Florence Farr, W.B. Yeats, and a host of pre-Raphaelites including Edward Burne-Jones, William Morris and his wife Jane. Bateman, along with his wife Maria and artist Edward Cook, busied themselves with not only horticulture but the design and construction of a series of temples throughout the garden, interconnected by walkways and tunnels. Walking around the garden, now run by the National Trust, it is evident that the surreal design was intended to induce an altered state of consciousness, to destabilize reality, almost like a magical ritual, moving through a Celtic glen complete with original menhirs and sacred spring, swallowed by the darkness of subterranean tunnels and spat out into Chinese temples boasting golden pagan idols. Dank Egyptian tombs with flesh-coloured walls, the inner sanctum terminated with a menacing statue, the Ape of Thoth. All these incongruencies shifting the tilt of the psyche, making it feel like a mystical experience, and all this a theatrical backdrop to robed rites, rituals and seances of the Victorian occult revival. The Grange Described by lay hunters as a nodal point on the backbone of Albion, the Bolinus line. Intersecting this line is the largest feature at the Grange, the Wellantonia Avenue. A mile long, it is aligned with the midsummer sunrise, which in days past illuminated the interior of a cave chapel in which were found the graves of Templar knights. Little remains of the chapel today, but the grave covers now curiously form seating outside St. Lawrence's Church, a half a mile away. Some of the esoteric luminaries that regularly attended the gatherings in the 1860s and 70s went on to become synonymous with magical orders such as the Golden Dawn and the Sphere Group. But for the Batemans, the good times came to an end. Inheritance spent and a severe fire in 1896 apparently started during a seance, gutted many rooms and apartments, forcing the Batemans to sell. Biddulph Grange endured the next century largely by luck due to its use as an infirmary of one type or another. The gardens were used to give the sick access to fresh air and bucolic scenery. I see the place as a personal initiation point. My brother and I experienced what we now think of as exposure to something beyond. One evening, we came upon two other children, a girl and a boy, wearing what we thought of as old-fashioned school clothes, short trousers and a pinafore dress. At the time, thinking that they were just from a posh school, but there for the same reason as us, visiting time. Trying to engage with them, they just chuckled and the girl said, "You do know the world is going to end." Then they walked away. On regular visits, we never saw them again. As a 9-year-old, you just shrug and get on with things, thinking them a bit strange. Not too long after this encounter, our mother died. Was this the meaning of the girl's statement? It certainly felt that way at the time. But that magical time, in that magical place, we feel we were given a gift. The sense that consensus reality is just the surface of things.